sky looked like a giant black ocean, and the stars were nothing but fading ghosts, an abandoned aeroplane known as Flight 407 rose from the forgotten wreckage site and drifted across the clouds like a wounded beast searching for the living. Because long ago, this plane had crashed in a violent storm, tearing through metal and souls alike. Yet no one ever understood why its shadow was still seen floating above the mountains and villages below, as if the aircraft itself refused to accept its own death. And tonight, a young engineer named Arlen, who was assigned to check strange radar signals, stood alone in the control tower, watching a silent blip crawl across the screen without any identification code or communication signal, and his heart hammered as he zoomed in only to recognize the exact shape of the vanished aircraft that had been declared destroyed years ago. And with every passing second, the blip got closer until the tower lights flickered and the air turned cold like the touch of something not meant for the living. And Arlen rushed outside, staring at the sky, where a massive dark shape glided without sound, its broken wings patched with shadows instead of metal, and its windows glowing with a faint blue light that hinted at movement inside. And soon the plane descended, slowly circling the runway like a predator, choosing its prey, while Arlen whispered to himself that this was impossible. Yet the impossible was now trembling through the air in front of him. Then a low hum vibrated across the ground, and for a moment, Arlen thought he heard distant voices from the plane calling his name in a tone that felt neither alive nor dead. And he stumbled backward, but the aeroplane continued to lower itself until its landing gear touched the ground without making a single sound, and the doors creaked open, revealing an aisle drenched in flickering light, where something unseen shifted in the shadows, as if waiting for him to enter. And Arlen felt drawn toward the open doorway by a force he could not fight, so he stepped inside. And the moment he crossed the threshold, the plane door slammed shut, trapping him in darkness that pulsed like a heartbeat, and all around him seats were torn yet filled with silhouettes of passengers whose faces were blurred, as if time had washed away their identities, and their heads slowly turned toward him in perfect, unnatural unison, while a whisper rushed through the cabin, telling him that the plane had never stopped flying and needed a living soul to keep it from crashing again. And the lights flashed, showing the pilot cabin, where the captain sat motionless, with empty eye sockets glowing faintly like dying lanterns. And Arlen realized that the ghosts were not trying to harm him. They were begging him to help them complete the flight that had been interrupted so violently. And with trembling steps, he moved to the pilot's seat, feeling a cold hand guide his shoulder as the dead captain faded away, leaving the controls in Arlen's grip. And suddenly, the engines roared with a supernatural force, launching the plane back into the sky as the spirits settled in silence behind him. And the aircraft glided smoothly through the clouds like it had been waiting for this moment for years. Then, a whisper echoed, telling him to follow the original route, so the souls could finally rest, and Arlen obeyed, steering the plane through the night until the horizon glowed with the first touch of dawn. And as the sunlight broke across the sky, the plane began to vanish, piece by piece, turning into pale dust that floated away, freeing the lost passengers, while Arlen found himself standing safely on the ground beside the runway with no plane, no ghosts, and no evidence except the silent sunrise that promised he had completed a journey meant for those between life and death. And at last, he walked away knowing Flight 407 would never haunt the skies again.